Haydi bakalım maçız. Tek map. Best of 1. Best of 1. Her round'un önemi büyük. Her round'un önemi çok büyük. İki kişi site'dayız.
This is what we want to see from Sentinels. They get to set that pace. That's always the value of being on that attack side. To try and get off to a solid start.
Çok güzel Magnum, bravo oğlum.
Just taking that initial fight, swinging to make sure they have the advantage early. Narrate.
Çok güzel Yampi be.
Gymnastics to try and get them back into the round.
Helal lan Yampi. 2v1, 3v1, 3v1.
The last man standing to try and face off versus 3. And we mentioned that pistol hit rate for the side of BBL. It's looking pretty good right now.
Çok güzel, çok güzel oldum. Erkenden girdik, vermedik site'e. Bomba da kuramadılar. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Kamerayı aşağı indirsene. Pardon.
The spike down, it's not looking great. Zelsis gonna go on the big raptor.
Ha, evet, Zelsis Amerika'da böyle miymiş? Arkadan geleceksin, eli alacaksın ha.
He's gonna have to drop down.
Ha. Tamam. Kimse yok orada. Tamam. Orada da kimse yok, göremeyeceğim. Sonra kapatamadım. Allah Allah. Chat de bana sus diyor. Ya chat hadi abi ya. Amerika falan. Gel abi. Map'i gezdi. Gel. Hadi oğlum, hadi oğlum. Güzel. Pistol aldık. Magnum'un kill kritik. Bu kill de çok kritikti. Yampi. Yampi'nin orada 2 kill'i var, önemli. Aferin oğlum, hadi. Hocam Levne yardım gerekebilir. Buyurun. Buyurun enteri. Buyurun ikinci enteri. Bombayı kurtulmasaydık keşke de. Olsun. 5v2, 5v1. John Kuti. O ne? Tamam. Silah düşürmeseydik keşke ama olsun, güzel. Abi çok önemli. Bak 2-0 kaldı 11.
A little bit of extra credit so they can throw in. They didn't really spend anything into this round, so you come out with a kill on a plant. It doesn't look great, but it's
düşmedik. Yampi'de Ghost vardı. Öyle mi? Görmedim. Tamam, çok iyi, çok iyi. Çok iyi.
You go back and you look at both teams, in fact, in their last results when it comes to Icebox, it's not been the best, and that's again, it's interesting because I think when looking at the veto initially, like, if they're going to go for a strong map, we maybe end up on a Pearl. I think both teams are great at Pearl, but I can kind of understand that.
Bo 1, evet, maç Bo 1 abi.
It would be more of a risk. And maybe this was their sort of surprise factor. Levin.
Abi Lev'nin polu bu ama Soshi'yi gösteriyorlar.
Looking to get up in their face. I don't know if they'll expect this straight away, but Bang wins the fight anyway, and John QT does as well.
It is a bold play to go for that push, outlaw in hand, up against full shields. I mean, he needed both shots to connect there, and obviously it hasn't worked out. BBL, now it comes down to damage. Players like Sociable and Magnum alive, sure, you could still see them winning this round, but Sociable's been tagged up heavy. And Sentinels are on their way towards him. Nice little angle above the smoke, but dealt with quickly. And again, then we look to Magnum. He's recovered himself a Vandal. Can he find a couple of kills here to put a dent in that Sentinels economy?
4v1.
The thing is, Sentinels are being incredibly methodical. Drone used just to make sure if any surprises were left on the site. He's quite far away. And as you said, with a gun in hand, he isn't that much value in overfacing here. A minimum of 3 players probably going to be surviving. In the end, it is Bang to close out with a triple kill. In the end, it is Bang to close out with a triple kill. Solid buy round coming through for Sentinels, and now is where things will get that little bit more interesting. Of course, some weaker weapons in there for BBL. They tried something incredibly aggressive, and I like the fact that, as I said, when it's these sort of games, you're going to take risks, you're going to do things that try and get you that little bit of an extra bonus in some of the earlier rounds. The Sentinels are very well prepared. Like they were not caught off by that whatsoever.
No, not at all. That was, as I said, a bold play to go for that push, but now with the rifles in hand, it's going to be a different story, and what I'm excited to see in these buy rounds is 11 already top of the board for BBL, up against Zek, and that head-to-head. And look, he's getting aggressive again. Not lost any confidence off that early fight. They've cleared Yumpy, they've cleared Sociable, and that smoke, it's given Levin a little angle to play from. He's good for the first, not quite able to follow up though, the smoke blocking him out. From that angle, drops down below though.
Çok iyi oğlum Lev.
Another falling. The thorn in the side, in the back, in fact, and this is
çok güzel be.
Turret finding one on to bang. This round very much up for grabs for BBL, despite that double opening from Sentinels.
It's giving me flashbacks to when they managed to beat Fnatic on Abyss a while ago. They're just getting in their faces, super aggressive, super off kilter, trying to surprise them as much as possible. Even still, though, they've ended in an even scenario. Sentinels have managed to cling on even while leaving a pretty big gap behind them. Celsius has to be careful. They're about to walk through the
Yapma be.
But he turns at the
Çok iyi
perfect
timingliyorduk. Oğlum bağırma lan.
It's taken off. Well, it only took 4 rounds for Celsius to be on his feet.
Well, of course he is. That lockdown coming online at just the right moment to get them that little bit of extra space and time to get the plant in and catching both players.
Buradayız.
And just a shame that Levin wasn't able to follow up quickly, but still, he did so much by re-aggressing down below, by picking them off, by putting the pressure on, but it's not enough. And with a performance like that, the momentum definitely in Sentinels camp. That leaves BBL without a lot to work with in this round. Sure, they've got that Guardian that's sounding off towards the B site, but everyone else is on pistols. Levin has got the Blade Storm to fall back on if they want to invest it here.
He's got the light shields. It seems like it is definitely part of the plan. Maybe hoping that Prophet can do a little bit of damage first before he goes for the start point. It is in play. I feel like Zekan's been caught quite often in these scenarios, but the shot's not connecting. And while the trade outs with those rifles going well, eventually Levin will pick up another, and Magnum with one more. The problem though is Levin so low on HP that even with those few spanners thrown into the works, again, they managed to stick the landing.
And now they're streaking those rounds together. Now they're looking confident down on that stage. And you look to the other side, BBL, that was a weaker buy. It had some opportunities to it. But this round here, this is where they want to turn things around completely. Ults will be coming online. Rifles will be in play for them. Magnum's got that lockdown. They have the Hunter's Fury as well. And it's not online for Narrate. So not an easy counter available to get rid of that lockdown. And for Bang, who's coming in with Viper's Pit, you can be pushed out of that very easily. So there's no easy win for Sentinels here, and it looks like BBL have got plenty to fall back on. This is the round that they need to take it across the line. What was that? John QT thought he could sense a gap, but they were ready and waiting.
Yeah, his Spidey senses were maybe a little bit off. But hey, they've been able to recover a lot of these early fights in those mid rounds. Playing towards the A site again, it seems like BBL have adapted. 3 players ready and waiting, and somehow
çok iyi Yumpy.
With that, but not for long.
Yumpy!
Picking up a double.
Çok iyi killer lan.
While the remaining players
mermi attırmadı ama vermeyin eli. Vermeyin eli. 4 ve 2.
To bring one back, but loses half his HP for it, and
Viper'ı da biliyoruz galiba.
That is a lot of information. Then also just look at the position of Levin. He's back in towards the spawn, just making sure that if they try and pull back and rotate, there's nowhere left to go.
Yeah, just locking it down with that op in a nice passive position. Spike is tapped, it draws Sociable into the open.
Helal.
Fire deep. It's not going to catch now, right? So he gets the jump on Yumpy. 3 more to take down. Levin on his way up to belt. That's a big danger. Narrate seems to have a pretty good idea. I don't know if he heard a step. It certainly seems like he did. He is locked in, trying to clear him out, but the op shot lands for Levin. A round for BBL, much needed. I do like the idea from John QT to start this out. Maybe there's a gap and I can get past the turret, but looks a bit silly when there's someone just stood there watching him.
Yeah, it's almost definitely based on like reads from the last couple of rounds. Yeah. Like, okay, they haven't really been contacting this so much. If there has been someone there, they've been playing alongside the turret, so maybe I can claim some space while the rest of the team goes towards A. But instead, Magnum just stood there looking at him like, what are you doing, bud? what was that? What were you trying? Already, a competitive matchup. As I said, I think BBL are one of those squads that, although we've not seen them in terms of the international stage, They're a roster I'm excited for. I've enjoyed watching them all season. And I don't think Sentinels will be a squad to underestimate either. Lockdown going to be used very early. Maybe expecting this to be a spring-loaded push. Aggressive into A with some lower purchases. Obviously Zekin's got the Blade Storm, so it's not too much damage.
Bayağı alan almış orada. Bu iyi bir şey aslında. 3'te
It has however given time for Levin to completely take control of
B orada flash için duruyor.
So they can stack this side of the map.
Yeah, they're getting a good flavor profile if you don't know BBL.
Çok iyi, çok iyi, çok iyi. Bravo oğlum. Müthiş hamle, müthiş. Verme buradan.
And just as Sentinels are about to go for that execute, they are pounced upon. Now, the advantage is down to just one player. The Blade Storm already claiming a life, and Sentinels looking to fight their way forward, but they've got so many numbers to clear out. They've got to get through Magnum's Killjoy setup. Already detecting players.
Çok güzel kill. Çık. 3v1 harikasınız lan. Yapma. Hiç gerek yok. Canı az. Soşin'in canı az. Ne? Zelsiz. Zelsiz o şerefsizler gibi olursan.
That's crazy. Luckily, Levin had made his move because there's a very real world where Levin goes, I'm actually just going to chill and stay passive in case he turns around.
Oğlum o neydi? Ne alaka?
Reset with an operator. Like that very nearly
Allah'tan lane geldi de arkadan.
And Zelsiz have been having a fantastic game so far. It also means that for BBL, even though they're winning these rounds, their economy is still on the ropes, and that's why you're still seeing Sentinels come in with buys and kind of risk it, especially when you look at how many ultimates they've got available. It's worth the risk.
But that lockdown burned up from Magnum in the previous round. Now Bang has a lot more value to bring to the table. This guy's incredible. How many rounds? Most of them. You see him going for these aggressive pushes. He wasn't scared to do it with Outlaw. So of course, he's got the op in hand. This is what I'm saying. You know, if you haven't seen BBL before, 11 might catch you off guard. This guy has nothing but a W key.
Öldü.
I feel like they genuinely tell him, the coach and stuff, just like, press them. If you die, we'll play 4v5. That's fine. But we keep getting aggressive, keep putting pressure on them, keep making it awkward for them to go for these opening battles, because normally space you'd have for free has already been claimed. Now, for now, at least, it seems like Sentinels are trying to sell this as a bit of a ruse. Two players currently over on the map, but it's a huge kill coming in for John QT. That is now Levin gone, and because of that, the B site is open for business.
I mean, it comes off as ironic that the one time he loses that fight is when he's trying to back off. He's got to get going forward. On the way back around yellow, he falls. Now Viper's pit comes into play. Like we said, you don't have what you need to clear them out of that pit, really. This becomes an uphill battle. And the lockdown thrown in. Sentinels want this round badly. And they're pushing forward in the pit, too, just for a moment. Zelsiz was looking for the fight, determining that they're not on the defuse, they're not putting that pressure on. It's not near half. And with the time now running down, you have to think that maybe they'll go for the save. Maybe they'll give up. It's not going to be easy. John QT's locking down that side angle. Doesn't see sociable, but still, the time is too low. There's too many players to fight back against, and that pit made this round impossible. Great ultimate usage from Sentinels to secure their fourth.
Yeah, I like the split up. You have to bear in mind that From the Shadows was available, so if they instead got the opener on A, the spike could be easily taken back over to the other side of the map. But also, it's just a read on the economy. As said, like, it's only been a single player in the last round surviving for the defenders. So, although they have a few extra credits in the bank, I don't think it's enough to come in with a 4-buy here. So, okay, you expend a couple of high-value ultimates, but if you fully reset your opponents or force them, as you can see, into a really weak purchase, those ultimates are very well spent. And you have to bear in mind that it's not like there's a load online for BBL. You've just used them at the perfect time. So Sentinels managing their ult economy almost to perfection. And now you're going to need some hero plays for BBL if they're going to do much in this round.
Well, you've already seen how dangerous it can be with those pistols. It was Magnum picking up a bunch, and they've got the read. 4 players rotated into position. Last time that they were in this kind of position, Levin at least had that Blade Storm. This time, that's not the case. But Yumpy manages to pick off one before going down. The problem is Prophet falls with him. And now, this round looking a whole lot easier for Sentinels with Sociable dealt with, Magnum swinging Classic in hand. No idea there's a player behind him. And Levin will be the man to do it all. A rifle in hand, a kill picked up, and he's running for the hills. Could just be the save angle.
İyi atamadı orada ya.
Yeah, he was one of the players I was most
TR
sort
yayını
of
yok
excited but
arkadaşlar.
nervous to see going into this event. Playing on the international stage, a fairly up and down duelist at times, and definitely one that sort of
Oğlum,
lives
bir
by
anda
the sword,
yalandan
dies by the
yok mu?
sword. Like he's
Var.
going to go running in, get aggressive, and even still now, I think they've got the extra credits to play with, so the damage would be nice. Bang is going to make sure that it doesn't go any further. But yeah, also just with the change of coaching staff, although like we know Pal quite well, I know that he's good at his job. It's more so that Turkish connection. Like you have that.
Ya gördü de bir tane daha adam vardır diye kurusuna.
Maybe that little bit of an extra boost to someone like Levin, or of course Sociable as well. But at least right now it doesn't seem like there's been any real effect.
Yakında da biri var sanıyorum o yüzden.
Sure, they are currently down at least a little bit, but I don't think they'll be too worried about it. We've seen a lot of teams have real strength going into that attack side. Obviously, I think adding in the secondary control should help the defense just a little bit more, but for now at least, it is going to be a timeout called by the side of BBL.
Yes, they've taken a moment to gather themselves here. It has been a close affair so far in this half, but still the danger that their opponents run away with it. We've already seen that streak of rounds coming in from the opposition. You can see Pal waffling away there, working the box. And this is their moment to get back on the board now that the rifles are back in play. We've seen some attempted aggression out of Levin in the majority of rounds, and I wonder if that will be a facet here, or if we'll see a more tamed and controlled version of this BBL defensive side. For Sentinels, well, they're asking themselves the same question. So far, we came in, we talked about Zekin versus Levin.
7-5 harika olur.
Levin 12-6 in his international appearance. This is well, if he can keep up this momentum, there's going to be a lot more rounds on the board for BBL by the end of this. And of course, he is keeping up the aggression, looking and walking it down, but the paranoia perfectly timed. He's sent back.
Çok iyi kaçtı.
Been a lot of these early fights. Where is he going?
Çok iyi oğlum, çok iyi.
Tears been caught over the top.
Çok iyi Profek, bir tane daha helal lan sana. Kelimdir o benim be.
Even a little bit of BM. There's no emotion on his face when he does it either. It's just pure saltiness almost, but for now at least.
It's not just the visuals, he reminds me of Hitman. He's got that calm, cool, collected Agent 47 approach, but there's some anger behind those eyes at times. And a 5v2 they've ended up in, it really does seem like you can delay Levin's aggression with some well-placed utility, with some ults, but you can never stop it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting going into the defensive side. Well, Zekin literally has to check every single angle just in case that jet is wandering about.
30 seconds left.
A little bit
A giriyorlar. Oynayacaklar bu arada.
They do have a free A site. So a plant looking fairly
likely. Teşekkür ederim
I'd be quite surprised if Jumpy faces in this scenario. Not really any necessary means to go for a fight and try and give them the potential of getting back into the round, having to try and avoid all of that extra utility. And Zekin on the other side is thinking, okay, I need to get aggressive here. I need to get in their face and do something. And they have run out of time. Yeah, the delay actually works out wonderfully. Profek even picking up the operator at the end and putting it to good use. And BBL are right back on the horse.
I heard that tap go in like 5 times. They just couldn't find the chance to stick it. Shock darts flying in and trying to force that fight didn't work out. I thought that maybe we were seeing some of these issues like Levin there getting over aggressive in the 5v2. This mid push ended up dragging Yumpy off site, which gave that little bit of space for the plant to come through. But
they are playing for the overall
çalışkın değil o.
Well as Sentinels.
Arkadaşlar YouTube yayınını bir like'lar mıyız ya? Yok mu? Hayır abi. Yok yapmayız ya abi. Tamam abi, canım sağ olsun. Biz de böyle abi, biz böyle yiyeceğiz lütfen.
Get out of control, especially if BBL come in with a victory in the defensive half.
Magnum pişiriyor bir şeyler. Profek çok iyi oğlum.
Magnum taking a risk.
Magnum çık oğlum.
He sat inside that orb, eventually backs out. They've got to pick Profek. So there's no need to panic, no need to worry. As you said, that outlaw's so very dangerous towards Snowman. So they're trying to fight in towards Orange. This wraparound from John QT.
Tamam olur Magnum bir kili var oradan.
He's only traded out in the rate. The numbers still favoring the defense.
Toşu öldün amına koyayım.
Sociable losing quite a lot of his health. I guess just trying to gain that little bit of extra space.
4 ve 3.
Having that man advantage at least for
Bıçak
now.
geldi. Watch
The
this.
ultimates, they're firmly in their favor. There's not much for Sen to play with other than their win.
Nice oğlum, sociable. Sociable.
He tanked half of his own HP on a snake bite, and
Let's
then
go.
just wipes the whole team.
No one was watching, Tom. The yellow player was tucked. The players in main were looking the other way. They were both
Amerikalıları kündeye getiren hareket.
You gotta wonder what was going through their heads. Look at that.
Ya.
Watching the same angle, and Zelsis is hiding.
82 California.
After a timeout. Plant down, and that's how they end up losing it. That's got to be heartbreaking for Sentinels. And you're sat there as the coaching staff watching that unfold, just heads.
Hadi oğlum 6-5. Hadi 7-5 gelsin. 4 tane Bulldog. 1 tane Guardian.
Early in the day, we got a lot of best of ones, we got best of threes coming as well. I did not need to be deafened in my first cast of the tournament, so I really appreciate you for that. I'm sure you had to suffer through the volume, so yeah, I appreciate it even more.
Profek 2 kill istiyorum senden. Gelirlerse 2 kill istiyorum senden. Oğlum şunu vurun. Abi çocuğa tezgah kurdular ya. Ya bu Amerikan özgüveni ya. Oğlum bir şekilde şu roundu almamız lazım. Hızlı geldi. Yampi hızlı geldi. Ayıp değil. Yok çok zor bu round. Çok zor ama doable. Hiçbir şey imkansız değildir. Oh! 3'e 3 bir anda.
This is starting to get a little bit spooky, a little bit scary as they now look to get that defuse. Well, not even halfway actually. They're tapping it to bait them into open combat. Magnum finding one on the trades, but Zelsis standing strong with a quad kill to close out this half and leave them neck and neck.
6-6 okeyim ya. Vallahi okeyim. 6-6 derim. Tamam. İlk eli alırsak süper. Profe'ye yardım edemediler. Smoke vardı ya. CT smoke'unu attı. Ay çok iyiydi be. Levzelse dip atmış. KDA'sı gerçi daha iyiymiş ama. Nasıl lan? Killimiz daha yüksek aman okuyayım. Bakalım saldırıda ne yapacağız? Evet, logolar da yanlış. Gezelsiz. Sen oğlum dur sen dur. Başlıyoruz bekle. Of heyecan. Haydi.
Welcome back, folks. Now, you've seen a close first half between these two teams. We came in hyping up Levin, and he certainly delivered with that aggression, but a big 4K from Zelsis almost matches him up, closing out that previous half. This is anybody's game as we move on to the second half, the last half of this series. It is a best of one, and the loser faces elimination. This is high stakes matchup. BBL mounting their attack.
I know, Zelsis is really impressed so far. Like every single one of those kills as well, they've been like high impact ones. This is someone who is definitely putting up those numbers when they matter the most. For now at least, a fairly open B site for them to look to. With Bang, he's now going to realize how far they managed to get, but he can't really look to find this. Just going to...
Oh, Magnum!
Magnum has domed him through the wall.
Çok önemli kill.
It's not a bad start. Levin as well, threading the needle.
Easy kill.
He's caught one looking the other way, and he got there in the end.
Clean
from Profek.
Allah'ım Sinco moment yaşanıyordu.
Been a little more of a clean fight that Profek had. And Celsius
Alo,
now has to find 5. One up himself.
Tamam.
Closing
Sakin.
out that
4v1. Sakin.
This one not looking very likely.
You can pad the stats a little bit.
Çok iyisin oğlum Magnum. Çok iyisin lan sen. Çok önemli. 2 pistol.
Round for BBL, and that's the thing. Mentioned it. When you're in a best of 1, pistols go your way. It can become a very scary game very quickly. And although I think that obviously we saw the recovery coming out from Sentinels in that first half, and let's not count them out by any stretch of the imagination. It's always going to be difficult when you're playing up against that boosted economy, those boosted rounds already.
Well, this is it. This is what BBL do, finding that leg up to start out the half. We mentioned it coming into the series, and with both pistols under their belt, BBL set up with a big advantage. But Sentinels were the ones winning then, as you could see with an even half. Majority of those rifle rounds. They managed to keep the economy modest as well of BBL all the way through. See if they can manage the same here. All classics for that defensive side. Not a round that you're going to imagine that there will be very much damage done by the defenders, but they'll look to use numbers to their advantage. They might not have the weaponry advantage in head-to-heads, but if they peak this together, maybe they can overwhelm them. And already you can see Social under a lot of pressure, but Levin there to help out.
Yeah, he's going diving in.
Oh, no, no.
He really wanted to pad those stats as much as possible, but instead, he's given an outlaw to the other side, which is definitely a dangerous gun to put into the hands of the Wraith. This has gone from what would look like a very easy cleanup round to what could be incredibly costly.
Definitely striking fear into the heart of Magnum here in that outlaw chime out on the other side with the half shields, but they're just going to buy time as Profek wraps his way all the way around. It's only a ghost to work with, and those players are already through to the A site. So his flank is going to be a little bit late coming through. Shock dart up top is good. That's Magnum that's tagged. It doesn't really help out with the outlaw fight. The reveal sent up and over. There's the info. Profek knows where to strike and when. Nicely done in the end by BBL. Some decent damage for Sentinels.
Yeah, at least they came in with 2 pistols, so realistically all they're going to do is upgrade to the rifles, so it could have been a whole lot worse, but you kind of see it. You see the good and the bad of Levin. It's like he is incredibly skilled, but it does lead to overheat sometimes, and that was definitely one of them. Like gifting that gun over to the Wraith. By the way, he didn't reload it. He just went for classic kills. But
he also dashed. He dashed through kitchen to look for that fight and spawn with a classic in hand. It is exactly what we're saying. We saw it in the 5v2 with the all pushing mid. We saw it a bunch of times
önemli. Bak bunu alırsak koparız maçı.
You also see the
Bu roundu bir şekilde çıkarırsak koparız maçı.
You kind of need him to be that guy if they're going to win.
Exactly.
Like, if he's playing passive and scared, they've lost. Like, it's already done. Like, I think that's where Sentinels win out. So you'll see that side and go, that was silly, but it's sort of a necessary evil for BBL. They are going to be able to take this one over the line. Of course, coming in with a very good purchase for a bonus round. They will still have the credits to buy into the next. So for Sentinels, it's fairly important to win this and win it relatively clean.
Çok iyi, çok iyi entry.
Already going to go the way of
Bro oynamak zorunda, bro oynamak zorunda. Buraya ayık ol. Vur onu. Headshot amına koyayım ya. Phantom'ınız. Ya hadi ya. Çok iyi lan. Bir dakika, okey. Trade alın. Nasıl vurdu lan Magnum?
That's a big pick. Numbers advantage now for BBL and they look to group up.
Tek başına. Maksimum bir kill ver. Maksimum bir kill. Trade alınsın. Beraber. Kol kola. Levin senin taşaklarını var ya.
Landing in his cloudburst somehow wins that out for more. This is what
Levin özgüven peak attı.
In both of those fights, but he ends up winning them a 3K and a round win for BBL.
Çok iyi.
updraft, flying through the air through a nano swarm to kill Zelsis, and then he sees the Paranoia come through the wall, which, by the way, jtcN had to adapt to where he was putting it because he heard the dash and was like, well, this guy's trying to push me, knows he's coming, and Levin,
oğlum Magnum'un vuruşu gereydik ya.
It's the Turkish A, like what do you even do? jtcN didn't even have time to react. Oh, wow, even gaining the confidence to start.
Eko vermeyin sakın. Eko verme yok. Yok öyle bir şey. Dikkatli. Çok güzel oğlum. Bravo Profek. 5v4 harika.
Now up against the pistols here should be an easy conversion, and for Sentinels, they've been the ones standing up. Zelsis especially looking across the stage. Both teams have gotten loud, but BBL have been focused on each other, on themselves. Now we've seen Levin sit down. He's letting them know he's getting a little bit loud, a little bit rowdy. But let's hope it doesn't backfire here, because we've already seen one pick for Sentinels. We've seen
abi dörtler. Beyler 1 dakikamız var.
Those weapons are weaker, but with the numbers advantage, we've already seen what that can do. They're going to push through this smoke together. A drone clearing this out, spotting these players. The Paranoia not able to be capitalized on, and Magnum
çok güzel oğlum son adam. Oğlum
danger
sızdı mı lan?
You just see Zelsis, he's having to check every angle on planet Earth. That one might be free though. Caught planting.
2v1.
Still doesn't have that weapon upgrade just yet. There might be one just a little bit further behind him. There was a death just a bit further back, but I don't think he wants to risk going all the way back to give up the position. And while he's already being swung on the other side, BBL not going to let that go any further, even though there has been damage done. And there was something that was talked a lot on the desk about, like, curses. It was mainly done by Device, and he was actually aiming to lose the half 9-3 so that then they could make the comeback and win. He actually said the player you need to look out for in this match is second, and I wonder if he's cursed him instead, because
bonus kazanmıştık.
Problem
yok yani.
There's no question of the caliber of player, but I think if you came into today and said, okay, it's Levin, it's sort of rookie level Turkish player who coming into the year nobody really knew anything about, versus wtcN, an MVP at a Masters event just last year, you'd kind of expect wtcN to be running away with it.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay, tam ortalarına sık. Aferin oğlum wtcN.
I remember the pick he found in the 5v2. Outside of that, I think it's all just been Levin in those head-to-head battles.
Operator in hand.
Initiated.
The lockdown should somewhat make
buyurun,
that null avoid. The dart
bak
as well.
Nereye?
Closer angles, although Narrate looking to sort of
çok güzel killer, bravo.
The team plays solid though.
Bravo oğlum Magnum. Magnum var ya ne oynuyor oğlum? Ne diyorsun Soshi, yapacak mı onu? Yapmam diyordun. B'ye git bir de B'ye oynayalım.
In fact, he got into the spawn.
Yeah, he stayed up close for this fight.
Çok iyi oğlum Soshi.
From Sociable, but you'd expect
çıkma gerek yok. Çıkma.
Bırak takılsın. About him not on that Tejo roll and how he can be freed up to take some of these fights, and you can see him running away with this freedom. wtcN fires off, but now they know where he is, and they're not looking to let him get away.
Bakacak o dayanamaz, bakar.
Down low. The operator, even if they do manage to save it, it's 11-6, but BBL are closing in the walls on this man.
Bunu vuralım ya. Para da var. Operatör kalmasın. Tam altın. Magnum tam altın oğlum.
Going to be the nasty surprise. Magnum has slowly been clearing out angles, but he has missed one.
Gördüm. Çok güzel oğlum, bravo.
All she wrote for the op for wtcN, and unfortunately, in terms of finances, they might not even get that in for the rest of the game. Like that's the thing. They either have to gamble it here, try and throw caution to the wind, or on the other side of things, they have to take an eco and play from 12-6 down, which I don't think anybody wants to be doing.
Şu play çok iyiydi. Aferin
Soshi. I mean, Sociable being able to get that much freedom, winning his 1v1 as well then for his third kill of the round, and leaving wtcN all alone. That just was the round crumbling in their hands.
Hayır.
Surprised here.
Bak yine 11 olduk, teknik pause. Abi teknik pause.
It's a technical pause. But perhaps even coming out of it, Sentinels will want a moment.
Türkçe'ye çevirince biraz sıkıntı oluyor ya. İngilizcesi iyi ama.
The fact that it has been so dominant, that's really where I get worried.
Evet buyurun, maçız.
Need to find a solution, and I'm not sure there is an easy one. We've had that tack pause following the tech, and now we're back in that defensive side for Sentinels. The aggression that we've seen from BBL really not being matched
Sana bir şey diyeyim mi? B oynarsak çok iyi olur. Viper yok, Killjoy yok B'de. Ya Killjoy orada da kitchen tutuyor.
All their pennies into this. They're gambling on his Blade Storm being able to pad the gap, and thus far that hasn't really been the case. Operator on the attack side as well for
çok yer aldık, dönme
that was
A'ya.
saved from the previous round, so a completely different avenue they're going to have to deal with. And you can see how passively they're currently having to play on the B side.
Oğlum çok free girdi ya. Yampi dönsem mi?
Space being garnered. But also
baksana abi neredeyiz ya? Ay bir de entry de geldi Yampi. Yampi.
Managing to get the opener, but the players haven't rotated yet. They haven't stuck the landing. ztcN is still here with that Blade Storm, spotting them going for that late move towards the A site, and there isn't a lot of time. They don't expect Bang to be here. And while Sentinels just being that little bit more patient,
beklediler abi. Rotate falan vermediler. Hazırlardı yani.
Has left Levin solo.
15 seconds and an op in hand. They want to take that out of his hands. They want to have it perhaps for themselves. Coming into the next. Great shots by Levin. He's surviving still. And the dash updraft gets him out.
Tamam, ölmedi. Çok iyi.
That's got to be the worst spot to save from in the game. And in fact, he's actually thrown the operator away. I think maybe, again, wanting to be that entry point rather than having the op. So he's just going, all right, I'm going to stick on a roof, pick up a gun, and then I'm right back into the next round.
I can't believe he got out of there.
Oynamak istemedik bir anda
operatörü. Swinging him all at once pretty much. Using his own cloudburst to isolate a fight in the second.
Ya çok dedi.
Very nicely done. But Sentinels, they have finally cracked the code. They've got a round on the board here on their defense. Now it's all about chaining them together. Their economy's going to look that little bit better moving into the next. They'll have some ultis to work with as well.
So sick.
I can't believe he got away with that.
Get out of my way.
Well, whether he wanted to or not,
Lane bıçakları.
End up with an operator. He's had to buy it, and now looks to be that lone defender of the B side, hoping that his individual firepower could take this one away. I like the fact that BBL as well are going back to just more direct. Like they tried to throw a fake in. I don't think it's really been their style. That though, a nice shot from
çok güzel oğlum
Lane. No way out of
That's one.
Doesn't have anything that can match the blades.
Again, it's Levin winning that head-to-head.
Gördü.
He spotted John QT. Looking for another and it's Bang up top.
Bir tane kile deşi de geliyor bu arada. Biliyorlar ya, Levni biliyorlar.
But I like that Sentinels are sitting back. They're making that read. Okay, let's leave Celsius to pressure behind, and they will get aggressive. They will make those mistakes. The Cloudburst, though, buys time. John QT
çok iyi oğlum lan.
Under pressure, and it's Levin to pick him off. Not able to deal with Bang, though. Leaving it all into the hands of Yampi, and he knows there could be a player coming up behind him. But the steps now hurt. I think he knows that both are coming from Orange. I think he will have that information just from the sound being made. The reveal goes up. It's actually spotted both of them. That was desperately close. A shock dart bounce off. Bang, sticking it at least a half. Sticking it all the way. Yampi doesn't suspect it, and it will be right under his nose that Sentinels find the defuse. Nobody makes it out of the round alive on the defensive side. But all they need is the round win.
Ekonomi zararı verdik. Ya NT bu arada ya. Yampi bırakır diye düşündü. Ben de bırakır diye düşündüm. Bırakmadı adamı. Şu arka çok kötü oldu abi. Buraya nasıl yani ya?
Just came down to Bang. The quick timing on his re-swing after John goes down, and then also just having the gall to stick it out completely, get that defusal over the line, and trust in his teammate is enough to bring them within at least 3 rounds.
Time out gene.
We might just have ourselves a pause over on the other side.
Abi buz kesti çocuklar, buz kesti ya.
In regulation, both teams have now expended everything they have, but it also gives another opportunity to Kaplan as well. So time to talk, especially with some of those rounds being probably a little bit closer than they would have liked.
Önceki roundlar için söylüyorum.
Especially at the end of that round, I don't think he'll mind having an extra pause as well.
Yeah, definitely not for BBL. You can definitely understand why they come through with this pause. This is somewhere that they now start to feel pressured. Sentinels cracking the code, and although none of them survived the previous, although it was close, the gap that they have, the lead, the safety net, there's a few holes starting to appear in it, and we could easily see Sentinels, the favorites in this matchup, coming through with the victory in the end. Just a 3-round gap and a lot of ultimates online for that defensive side.
Paramız var.
Great for reactions, great for the retakes.
Şu roundu almamız lazım. Bu round önemli.
So a little bit of an uphill battle forming for BBL, who were previously leading.
Entry verdik.
Immediately. Great pick by ZeKen. He's really starting to find his form here.
Yeah, them putting him over onto the B site seems to be the change they needed. He's able to at least find them opening. He's been caught on 2 different angles. He doesn't even realize it. And well, instead, Zelsus has gone down as well.
Çok iyisiniz lan. Bravo lan size.
Sentinels trying to stem the bleeding, but instead they've ended up making it that little bit worse. Narrate at least will be able to find one. Magnum desperately low. Timing here is going to be everything, and that.
Tamam. 2v1. Çok iyi trade.
Comes down to the man of the moment. He's been having a couple of times, and he will get both up above. No realization of that flank coming in, and well, I think knowing maybe there's still a little bit to do. There's not even a reaction from ZeKen. He's locked.
That was crazy. They had the info. Both players around that spot and no hesitation.
Nerede olduğunu biliyorduk
like we said, really finding his form here. That was a terrible first half from him. I think he was bottom of the server. Levin was dominating in all of those fights. To see him now finding the opening.
Niye kimse bakmadı oğlum buraya?
So quickly reacting. Look at them clearing mid, waiting for that rotation, but not expecting such a brazen play. Levin still leading the server, 26 kills on the board, but the gap now down to just 2 rounds. Sentinels, they're back in the action, back in the mixer, and it's BBL left with no timeouts left to fall back on, with economy running low, and a solution desperately needed.
Oh, we saw this in our first A-Stream matchup. Billy running away with it. Paperex, of course, the champions of the last event. You'd expect them to win, and eventually they did. It just took them some time to get going. 8-4 down. I think it may have even been a little bit more than that. But this would definitely be a tough one for BBL to take. You could see that sort of confidence growing with Sentinels. The pause definitely making a difference. I don't know what words were said by Kaplan, but I think I could use them in my day-to-day life as well.
Oh, another opening pick. This time it's Narrate taking down Magnum. Flank protection gone. TP comes in from Sociable, joining the team as they look for this A-side control. Viper's pick goes down from Sentinels, but so does Narrate. He's been picked off. This aggression from Levin working wonders. And if they clear this backside in time, they could isolate Bang outside of that pit. He's coming close, and indeed taking him down. An aggressive play by Sociable, and it's worked out. John QT dropping out of heaven. Will deal with Sociable, will deal with Levin. And that's Sentinels back in with the advantage. They have to play against time with the spike up top. It's a decent angle to play if they decide to concede the space to the lockdown for BBL. Need to get the belt quick, though.
They got to wrap back around, and it's the exact spot that seemingly will be expected by the opposing side. Viper's pit available, but not really something they can do about this, and they've taken the low angle to just try and defuse. Needs to try and tap away, and unfortunately the shot's not connected. Snakebite does eventually get the kill. Of course, Sentinels losing players after time seems to be their story so far, but they are winning the rounds. They are climbing back into this one. And you can start to see some deflated looks on the side of BBL. They were running away with this 5 rounds in a row, starting off this attack side. But as said, a Sentinel squad are never down and out. Until it is over, there is still a good chance they win this best of 1. And now, well, 1 round is all the difference.
It's so important as well that John QT gets both of those fights so clean. Not even a bullet landed. Otherwise, that snakebite would have taken him down. And somehow, with a stinger in hand, Levin's won that fight. The 140 tag, not enough.
I love that he has full shields and a stinger as well, because why would you?
That's
such an odd fight to go for. Magnum's now found another one. This should not be the way that they get to 12, but maybe even beaten by their own. Sentinels have always been pretty good with the stingers. It's been an America's staple. And now John tries to level things up a little bit, but they're so far back into this round.
Oğlum Eko çaldık lan.
Scurry away.
I mean, that is a surprise, an uppercut when you expected a jab. BBL come through, mixing up the economy. Full shields on a lot of players, stingers on most. Sociable in that late round, playing so aggressive up on top of the generator. And they've even thrown in the Viper's pit here. A little bit of an overcommittal, to be honest. The round was done, but you can't be too cautious in a round like this. Sentinels having climbed all the way back to a 1-round gap.
Paraları var mı? Oo, paraları da yok.
Is what bests them and puts BBL onto map.
Bir tane Phantom'ları var sadece. Onu da vuruyor muyuz?
30 can ya. It looked like it would be. But a win is a win for BBL, the underdog, close to taking it across the line.
Yeah, that's... You've just got to be seething. You've got to be absolutely seething. Because the other thing as well, though, is you understand the position of second. You go, okay, they don't have many credits. They're all going to have themselves light shields.
28 kill, 28.
Players did not have light shields. They went in with the heavy shields, expecting that on the other side. It's a good read, but it also just has to be infuriating. You land the shot and still get punished. Now, Zekken is one away from having his ultimate. The main goal here is to get the orb. But I think he's realized, okay, I'm not getting in that. I need the kill, and that's exactly what he's found.
Wonderful opening. Levin, a little taste of his own medicine. The aggression that gets this Blade Storm online. Still the weaknesses. Man advantage for Sentinels. 2 stingers to work with. Nice angle from Sociable. He's been so aggressive. You'll love to see him on this Omen. This is what we talked about. Freeing him up a little bit to take some more risks. And he is thriving under those conditions. Leaving it to a 4v4. Despite on its way to be, Sociable left here to try to buy a little bit of extra time, a little bit of extra space. But with just a sliver of HP.
Evet ya. Oynayalım şu B'yi.
There will still be another switch up. We saw Zekken over on this B site quite regularly.
Ne oldu oğlum? Nereden gördü Soshi'yi?
Is that Killjoy setup instead? So the contact already made into mid. That's a free kill for Zelsis. Then the alarm bot should give away the game. So now they can pull those rotations in. His goal, just to try and delay as much as possible. Now bear in mind, Hunter's Fury and Lockdown are currently available for this attack inside. They have solid ults to play with.
Magnum.
Right above him. Zals is hiding beneath the bridge.
One gone.
It's given to Rate the pick.
Silahları kötü
now
ya.
Down to a 4 versus 2. BBL.
Right here.
Not looking like they'll be
O ne? Zekken.
Right Oha. Zekken puts the final nail in the coffin. It is 12-11 for Sentinels. 1 round left in regulation. We're going the distance either way. The question is, can Sentinels bring us to overtime?
I would be the second time on the A stream that we've seen it sort of fumbled by a squad so far in the league. I'm a little bit surprised at the post plant here, though, from the side of BBL. Like, you have a Hunter's Fury and a Lockdown available.
Enemy remaining.
Like, sure, I think there's the counter, at least to one of those, but I do wonder if playing a little bit more passively, maybe trying to get the pick onto Narrate. I think that was the goal. Maybe that would have turned the round on its head instead. Well, you look at the purchase they've got. There's a Bucky, but that is the secondary to the Blade Storm. And we've already seen them manage it once with these lower
Magnum ulti var, Yampi ulti var. Avantajlıyız yani. Onlarda ulti bir tek Narrate'de var.
You should run.
Doing it again though, not as easy when Sentinels are playing that bit more passive, not wanting to get caught out in those aggressive angles and pushed back by this lockdown. BBL.
Yeah, they could have opted to break it with a Hunter's Fury. A lot of the time that is the scissors.
Spike planted.
Hold lan bıçaklara.
The lockdown, but I guess just wanting to have it for the retake instead, maybe cause that extra little bit of disruption. There is the Hunter's Fury already being sent through. Levin up close with that Bucky is ever so dangerous, and they still haven't cleared him from this position just yet. But it's going to be back with a quick turnaround. Magnum still standing, has been able to find one, but he's the only one with a gun in hand. Everybody else struggling that little bit more. So is he, it seems. Even still, though, again, the Sting is doing work. And now Profek just sitting back passively, not wanting this to happen again.
Abi hadi ya.
But it's Zekken through the wall to kill him off. It might have been a little bit close, but the time not even remotely.
An overtime. It seems to be the story of the A stream here. I know the B stream had a very dominant game. KC up against G2 with a stand-in. It was 13-6, but nothing but OTs when it comes to this matchup. I think we certainly deserve it. Sentinels look down and out at one point, 11-6 down. And they've managed to bring this all the way back to an OT. Again, I don't know what was said by the coaching staff, but whatever it was, words of wisdom certainly delivered at just the right time. And now you're seeing them back on their feet. Zalsis getting fired up again. Back to even footing. Round
2 pistols and a bonus win. So it's like,
yeah, the 3rd round, and
that's the thing. If you do that and don't win the map, you've trolled. Or your opponent's very good. In this case, I think it might be a little bit of both.
Without a doubt. Yeah, Sentinels, they've locked themselves in. That drone's gone far. Great read by Zelsis. He knows it had to be thrown from up close, and that's an easy pick onto Yumpy. He thought he'd cleared all of that A site. No one outside of it, but one had stepped in, and the opening pick goes to Sentinels as a result.
A huge start. They haven't really had an opportunity to be in the lead in this game for, I believe, maybe right at the beginning. They were like 4-4, 4-3, something like that. Managed to have a decent start, but other than that, BBL have been running away with it, at least in the second half. Levin, though, was their main pain point when it came to the defense, having to deal with this man and what has been an incredible performance. 28 kills, but he's definitely going to need a couple more, and they are being very careful of any smoke. The thing is, though, Sociable still plans to try and push this, and I like that. They smoke off the dart, he goes swinging, and that's a spike down.
Güzel.
2-for-1 bargain deal.
3-3.
30 seconds
And now with 30 seconds left, they've been delayed so much, they kind of have to go back.
Yeah, back into Levin. Problem is, BBL have sent players to the other side of the map, expecting that rotation.
Nice!
He's gonna have to stand strong.
Gördün,
Already
üstü de
finds his
gördüm.
first. Dash out, info is good. He spotted at least one. It could be both. And with
10
12
saniye.
seconds left,
Oh, no, no,
to push forward through the wall, and it doesn't work out for Bang. Zekin, barely enough time to get this plant in.
Nice!
He needs to get
oğlum.
And Profex
Aferin lan
just in
Burak.
time to ensure he can't. Another match point going the way of BBL.
Oğlum o
Can they close it
ipteki
out this
adamı ne
time?
vurdu amına
All
koyayım?
right, new pair of trousers to the caster room after that shot that Levin just hit. That man must spend hours a day on aim training, because all of these were pretty nice. Give me this one. Like, that's a breed that only shows up in Turkey. You don't get that anywhere else. That is after.
Sadece Türkiye'de görebilirsin diyor bunu.
Solid start to the round.
Başka yerde göremezsin bu vuruşları.
You can see how pumped up they are
Zırla,
on the other side.
al
Some
lan,
frustration
kudur,
sinking in for Sentinels. They know coming into this match.
Yani Social'in TP'yi duymadılar galiba. Üzerine o kadar şey atıldı, jet smoke atıldı.
Sorry,
Güzel oyundu.
Flicker has just like done an MVP performance on his debut for DRX. That's
Levin
nuts.
30
like,
by the
it
way.
really is. We've
Hadi
got
oğlum,
such a
iyi bir
great
atak.
shot at hands. I'm having to look at what's going on the other side.
We talk about an MVP performance, Tom. Levin, the rookie, the one that's up against one of the best in the world in the form of Zekin. He's on 30 kills already. With one round left to play, potentially, if this goes to BBL, it's 14-12. It's locked in. It's their dub, and Sentinels with elimination on the line again. Another international where they fall down early.
Oynuyor.
Çok
iyi Magnum, aferin lan sana. Ayık. Bunlar ne yapıyor? Hey gördük, tamam, info var. Oynayalım. Evet smoke, flash. Vur onu, nice oğlum Profek. Tek başına.
BBL with a chance to close this.
Poison's gone.
A squad that's long
Öyle kill alıp çıkmasın ama.
This will be a step in the right direction.
Çok iyi lan Yampi. Yampi öldü.
And a victory just one round away. A couple picks.
2v1.
John QT, the man to do it all.
Nice.
The one to close it out.
Bu.
An MVP performance.
Helal lan size.
That man. We didn't know what to expect up against international opposition, but he delivered maybe even better than he does regionally. Unbelievable.
Bu.
No, that
Aferin
definitely
oğlum.